Intro. Bam, what up, Yang Gang? We are live. We're waiting for a couple people to straggle in here. But we're gonna give people time to show up. Let's see here. There's Amber. But yeah, we got one more person coming, Dallas. But I just want to kind of give everybody a little overview of what's going on here because this isn't typical to my channel. So I actually know Amber from one fun day of collecting signatures in South Bend, getting kicked out of every store we got into for trying to collect signatures. Get Andrew on the ballot.
That's the hustle.
Yeah, man, and that was a fun day. Just having some fun. And then Dallas, the other guy that's coming. I've actually had him on my channel before debating. I think it was like pro-life versus pro-choice or something like that. Probably a year ago. Or no, it was debating universal basic income. He hated the idea of this and that. And then we have Lee and let me get this right, Lee and Lisa that have a radio show. What's it called? The Truckers. I got it in the description box just so you guys know. Where'd it go? Truckers Across America with Schmitts.
Yes.
They're currently driving. Did you guys know
He's
Fred?
driving. Yeah, well, I've had conversations with Fred.
Yeah, good old Fred, man. That's my boy.
Good old Fred. We love Fred.
He's a pistol, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, he can talk.
I will agree.
Yeah, he it's like he is like I'm older than him, I think. So he's like that brother around my same age that we got to hit each other once in a while to show we care type of thing. Because me and him don't agree on a lot of things. I guess emotionally. There it is. Who put that there? There it is. Trucking Across America with the Schmitts. And also, just so you guys know, their links to their Facebook page is in the description box on this video below. But yeah, so I just reached out to everyone here and said, invited anybody as a conservative that voted for Trump 2020 to come on and just give us have a discussion about what we're up against in the current state of the election. And since I put that out, things have changed a little more drastically, I guess you'd say. And today's a new day. This is just so you guys know, this is Friday if you're watching this on replay. And so this morning you have some news outlets trying to declare a winner without having 100% of the votes in yet. But they're showing some trends. And it's looking like it's going to be a nail biter one way or another. So I just want to kind of go ahead and get your guys' points of view, how you guys see this current election cycle, and then how you see the portrayal of the votes or whatnot around the country. And I'll start with Amber down here below. What's your position on all this?
Well, I mean, there has been credible evidence of fraudulent activity in some of the key battleground states. If you look at it, if you look at the numbers in a line graph, you'll see the Biden hockey stick, and that is it is statistically unlikely that that Joe Biden would get even 10,000 votes all in one dump at 4 o'clock in the morning, let alone the amount that he did get in both of those states. It is a straight vertical line.
Where is
they're
this
calling
at?
it? It's all over Twitter, but then again, I live in a different reality than most people because that's how it is these days. Scott Adams says it's two movies, one screen. But let me try. You want to try to find it for you?
Yeah, I was going to try and look it up. If you guys have any kind of sources, I'd love to see them. So I'm big on data, of course.
Sure.
And
it'll be a little bit before I can dig it up, and I think
it's fine. It's fine. But you have Christy here trying to say votes aren't certified yet. Of course not. The national conference is state legislators, has a map of each state's timeline. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it is Nevada that allows for like up to 7 days after the polls close to receive mail-in votes.
Which is in court because it is unconstitutional, regardless of COVID. We had early votes and then election day votes, and there's also been
Yeah, but technically, the election is not a federal regulation; it's a state regulations.
The Constitution is federal, and the election day is one day. Now, let me finish what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you are having, there have also been video captures and credible evidence of post office workers getting ballots later than November 4th and backdating them. They're asking their workers to backdate these ballots to November 3rd. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay.
No, I
that is actually happening.
Yeah, and if that's out there, it'll be dealt with in the courts, and that'll have to come to light,
Meanwhile, you have Twitter and other big tech companies, Facebook, censoring news. They have ramped up their banning, their political banning and shadow banning, and a lot of the conservative voices on Twitter have been put in the digital gulag. Brian Cates, for instance, Draw and Strike, Carlos Osueda, C.O. Sueda, both of those people are powerful investigative voices. They show primary sources. You can look at everything that they do. You can look up and verify every single thing that they post because they post primary sources, and they have both been dumped from Twitter because they were talking about this overwhelming, this statistically unlikely occurrence, and how that might be an indicator of fraud, and offering encouragement to Trump supporters who are seeing this. Because what is happening right now, you have all of the Biden voters in a bubble, all of the Trump voters in a bubble. We don't know each other's stories. We don't know. We're looking at the same screen and seeing two different movies. And because we're so divided, we're not actually giving each other the benefit of the doubt and talking to each other. We don't assume goodwill when we speak to each other. And I've even seen Biden voters, like I've seen a lot of people on Twitter just saying cope, just like all capital letters, like you lost, now it's time to cope, and like stuff it, that kind of like really mean language. They're going ham and going forward. And it's like, you lost, you need to cope. Just count the ballots, certify it, be done with it. Let's go. If not, we're going to set these cities on fire. And then on the other side, you have Trump rallies. These are Trump supporters going into the streets and praying. They're not bringing their guns. They're not trying to start fights. Well, they might bring their guns because it's their right.
Definitely bringing their guns.
Yeah. Well, they're not trying to start fights. They're on their knees in prayer. That's what I see. Some are. I do not see that on the other side. So you have fearful idiocy, I think, and angry strength. And I'm angry. I'm very angry that this is happening. I'm in business school. I shouldn't be spending my time sweating on Twitter. I should be doing my accounting homework.
Turn off Twitter. It's the healthiest thing you can do.
Not right now. Right now, it's a nail biter. The whole world is watching, and third world countries are watching us. Right? You have banana republics who are seeing what's happening right now in the United States with these really, really screwy numbers. This very screwy situation, and I want us to do what's right for them. I want to show the world what it looks like when somebody tries to mess with us and implement a fraud on a large scale. And the funny thing is, like, okay, you hear a lot of people saying, like, well, there wouldn't be, like a big conspiracy like that isn't possible because somebody will leak it. The truth will get out, right?
Yeah, it's hard to keep secrets. It's hard to keep a secret. Yeah.
What happens is the truth does get out. It does leak. And then it's shut down by by Twitter, by Facebook, and banned. And I'm not sure if I'm the only conservative that's here today, but many people will verify what I'm saying. There is evidence of fraud. There is, and not just fraud. Now, remember, the New York Post is a 200-year-old newspaper founded by Alexander Hamilton. Twitter censored it when they tried to show. They blocked. They banned the New York Post account when they posted that Hunter Biden story. Have you heard of this Hunter Biden story?
Well, of course. Come on.
Okay.
Now. Jesus.
No,
I
have to ask.
Faces like crazy.
I have to ask. Now, do you think that's a problem?
About what?
Do you think it's a problem that a man who is running for president of the United States, who's
Mhm.
neck and neck with Donald Trump, has a son who has been dealing with the Chinese Communist Party, with Russian oligarchs, getting millions and millions of dollars, leveraging his father's position. And then there are continued allegations that he was actually funneling money to the big guy, Joe Biden. So if you have credible allegations that there is that kind of chicanery, that kind of third world malarkey, to use a Biden word, happening in that situation, and it's credible, right? So it has, like the FBI is on it, the DOJ is on it. It has been independently verified. The New York Times, the New York Post would not publish it without it being verified, and it is in that story they attempted to wipe and censor it because they can.
Yeah.
Glenn Greenwald quit The Intercept. He founded The Intercept and he quit it because his own board wouldn't let him write on the Hunter Biden story.
Well, yeah, I know there's some suppression stuff, but at the same time, it just, I rely on the evidence, the hard, like there's public opinion that's considered credible, but then there's actual shit that goes to court. And so that's what we're up against. Like, what is credible evidence, and what does everyone agree that is credible evidence? So
how do you know if you can't see it?
What's that?
How do you know if you're not allowed to see it?
Well, then how have you seen it and I haven't? Then you know what I mean?
Because I live in a different, I am in a different bubble, in a different world, with these primary sources who are throttled back from getting more exposure.
Well, I keep a very diverse friend group. I'm not like I'm not a Democrat, first of all, so I don't just agree to everything I hear either, because I think most of it's bullshit.
Neither do I.
But my thing is, it is that's the whole point of this whole podcast today, is to bring in outside voices that are farther outside of my own, like outside of my own little edges, wherever my edges may be. I consider myself the moral center, but I don't do a political center. I try to just be moral, and hopefully is no one is unbiased, but is acknowledge my own bias when I feel that knee-jerk reaction is like, that's bullshit. Then I have to go look into it. It's like, it sounds like bullshit, but there are some credible things out there that's happening. And I will say the first thing, it is fucking weird that the president's families, anybody's families in politics, should be allowed to be on any board anywhere without any really credible thing. I can admit that. But
what do you mean by credible thing?
Credible. No, I mean, like, I think it is bullshit that anyone in politics, family, can get a job at somewhere on a board overseas or whatever, and not see that as some type of a fundamental problem of influence. So I agree. The Hunter Biden thing is kind of fucked up and shady.
I think that people should be allowed to conduct business. And we have a strict, we strictly look at the business that they do conduct. Foreign agents are required to register. So it should be allowed for anybody to conduct business anywhere they want, so long as they're not hurting the United States or working against the United States, or working with our enemies or violating sanctions. Yeah.
Well, hey, I want to go ahead and get the other guys in here. I want to go ahead and hear what Lisa and Lee. So let's go ahead and start with Lisa. You go ahead while Lee's driving.
I'm actually stopped, so it's okay.
Stopped? Yeah, either one of you guys can chime in, or you can talk over each other if you want to, as a husband and wife might do.
We don't always agree. You should know that up front.
Okay, that's interesting too. But yeah, so how do you guys feel about this whole situation where some media sources are claiming victory, and while the votes aren't in, and even like Fox News called Arizona yesterday, which was interesting.
I don't think that any news media should be calling anybody yet.
100%.
Everybody knows, and I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat. Everybody knows North Dakota straight south is going to be red every year. It is guaranteed. Them states do not swing. Georgia, North Carolina, all these other ones that are in play. And for the record, I did vote for Trump. And these states, yes, okay, the progressives are moving in, but never has it been this close. Is there fraud? Yeah, I believe there is. And it all starts with all the mail-in ballots, in my opinion. You don't have this many mail-in ballots just all of a sudden 95% going for Biden. It doesn't work that way. Is there proportionally more for Biden? Probably. Conservatives vote in public, always go out and vote because we don't believe in the system as far as trusting it. I don't know. I lose my train of thought. Go ahead.
When you see places like Detroit putting up window blockers to hide what's going on the other side of the window, you can't but help but question, what are they hiding? We're supposed to have an open and transparent election process. How is that happening? And that's something that I think both sides should be complaining about, whether you're for Trump or not.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know the full context of that story I have seen the photos and videos of like them putting up cardboard and like cardboard dividers and stuff like that, over the windows, and like newspaper or something like that. They tape it to the windows. I really don't understand what the hell is going on there. I don't know why that was done. And again, I don't have an opinion on something. I just don't know. I don't know about what the hell is going on there. It don't look.
That's like the videos that she found yesterday. Somebody said that they were watching people take ballots in boxes and loading them in a vehicle. Okay, whether you're left or right, why are you just sitting there? Get a hold of the police. Video the whole thing. Just follow them. Don't let this go on. It doesn't matter what political party affiliation you are. If they're deceiving the country and taking ballots out and hiding them in the middle of the night, you don't just video it and let it go on. You stop it. You contact the police. You do what you have to do. And it shouldn't matter how you wanted to vote or how you vote. Everything is supposed to be open and transparent. And if the shoe was on the other foot, which it has been, they do the same thing.
Yeah.
And if the Democrats were so confident that Trump won, why are you causing chaos in the streets? Republicans don't do that. You let the system play out. Did I believe that Obama should have been president? No. Did I stop working? No. Did I throw fits in the street? No. Was I ticked off? Yeah. Okay, life goes on. That's the big difference.
I'm a little more in the middle of this, where I can see the bullshit on both sides, where they're both playing some tomfoolery here. Like, what do you guys think about the Republicans that got in trouble for putting those fake ballot boxes up in California? And there's like 5 of them or some shit that they were ordered by the courts to take down. So they're collecting. They're trying.
That's not right. I don't believe that's right. They shouldn't do that.
Yeah, so that's, there's some tomfoolery going on here on both sides.
Yes.
I don't trust either party or either system.
I think what happened in California was sort of a political performance art, basically. They said that, if I remember correctly, and I might be misremembering, but it was something like this: according to the letter of the law in California, what we're doing, this practice would be legal. Was the point. And when it went to the court and the boxes got taken away, that would be considered a victory, because California does not like ballot harvesting. The only people, like Devin Nunes talks about ballot harvesting in California. He has some really good points. Like it has gotten so bad in that state that you have to do it to play. Like the goalpost has shifted to the game. The cheating has become part of the game. That's how bad it has gotten. And so I think that those boxes were political performance art.
So I want to bring up. So I'm big, like I said, I want citing sources. So I have a couple sources on this,
Sure.
right? So I want to bring up, and you guys are on your phones. It might not work, but she can bring up, like, you can share your screen if you want to bring up an article. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what I've looked up on that about the whole the ballot box here. So it says here the state Republican Party, not just some random people, this is the actual party organizers, has removed their unstaffed, unofficial ballot drop boxes the state officials deemed illegal. So this is organized by the actual leadership of the Republican Party in California. And again, this is just one example of it happening there. Now, as far as the ballot harvesting that has been claimed in, was it Minnesota?
Yeah, Ilhan Omar,
Right.
Minnesota, the Somali community being farmed for votes.
Now you understand
that
that guy came out and admitted he was paid by those people to like he didn't have any actual ballots. Those are ballot request forms that, like, I got 5 different form requests. I got one from I got 2 from the Trump campaign, or not, one from the Trump campaign, one from the state Republican Party from Michigan. The state Democrats sent me an application, and like 2 other. I had 5 total, like, ballot requests type of thing. I think what it is. What's that?
I mean, if you said that the man in the video came forward and said, no, those were not ballots, they were ballot request forms. I wasn't harvesting ballots. I wasn't trying to, collect votes. If you've seen the full,
No, he said he was a paid
video,
actor. He said he was a paid actor to lie.
Yes, I don't actually believe that.
Well, that's the thing. We can believe or not believe, but that's all the evidence we have is the guy that actually was performing this thing. Like you're talking about performance in California, it's happening in Minnesota too, right? So it's suspected. Let's put it that way. There's no proof. So tomfoolery all over the place. You got the Lincoln Project and you got the flip flop, and the other way of it is just a bunch of disinformation bullshit going back.
What do you mean? What are you talking about with the Lincoln Project?
The Lincoln Project does their own type of propaganda.
Okay, so they do propaganda.
They do the propaganda to shed a negative light on someone they don't like, and all of them do it. That's what all fucking politics is. Bunch of bullshit. But here's the thing. That's all opinions. Like, and unfortunately, we as individuals can't change it. And unfortunately, we're left to the court system when it comes right down to it. But like, let me think. You're in Indiana, and you guys are from Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it's hard to see through the bullshit in either direction. It's like it's all foggy everywhere we go right now when it comes to this media bias back and forth. And that's where I'm kind of like, I don't trust either side. I don't trust any media sources. I don't trust shit I see on video because this shit can be documented.
The problem.
Go ahead.
The problem lies in that our claims of cheating, of fraud, they're being blocked and banned by social media. So when people ask us to provide proof, it was one person in some small town in a state and their video has been gone. So now we can't provide that proof. Not saying that it's real. I'm not saying that it's not. But how do we vet it and check into it to be able to make an informed decision when media blocks it?
Well, that's the thing though. You can't put it up on there. That's a private enterprise, unfortunately. Like, I've been shadow banned on YouTube too, where I was talking about some shit and it literally put me down to like 1 viewer. Like, I'm talking like instantly. So if the algorithm gets triggered, they down throttle.
I understand it, and I wrote that same thing in the chat. They're private businesses. Where do you draw the line at ruling private businesses? Because if they rule Twitter, they're going to be able to rule my page.
Yeah,
and here's my concern, though. Yeah. Biden is actually in favor of that, and he's encouraging it.
In favor of what?
Trump, in favor of the tech censorship.
Okay.
And Trump is not. So if you are a principles person, if you like to settle back on your axioms when you're confused. Like, okay, what are my values? Okay, I value free speech. I value the Constitution. I value Western civilization. I believe that I am part of a 1,000-year-old tradition of refining our society and continually making it better. Fall back on that. Trump is a better candidate because he is in favor of free speech.
I would disagree with that 100%.
I would love to hear your reasoning behind that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I shouldn't interrupt you. You go ahead.
Well, I did interrupt you first.
That's hey, I talk all goddamn day. I brought you guys on to talk more than me. I'm just here to kind of hear you guys out and hear more points of view. But
all right, I'll interrupt you then.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Justify I want to hear how you can justify voting for Biden. I can justify why I chose Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I could justify who I voted for back in the primaries.
Right.
And it was not Trump. It was Trump. It was Ted Cruz.
Okay.
But Trump ended up being our nominee. I voted for Trump. I can justify why I voted for Trump now. How can you justify voting for Biden when he's been in office for so many years? So I'd love to hear that.
This is an easy one. I didn't vote for Biden.
Okay.
I voted for
He voted against Trump.
No, not even that. I voted for the administration I want to fight for the next 4 years for better policies. And I feel like the Trump administration I don't feel represented. Like my best interest and my family's best interest and everybody I know and love that are part of the LGBTQ community. My son is of color. And I know everybody wants to go to the same old talking points about black unemployment, Mexican unemployment. That doesn't affect.
What about gay rights in Somalia?
What the hell? I'm not going to go in Somalia. I'm talking about America.
I'm just saying that a country that was throwing homosexuals off rooftops, Trump actually stood up and asked, and told them, don't stop doing that. Stop killing people because of who they love. He is the only U.S. president in history to have done that.
But did they?
Gay rights.
He also bans transgender members from the military as soon as he got in office. So that's really a weak stance to have on equal rights when he takes people's rights away. Specifically, you and me are veterans, man. That really pissed me off. Mm-hmm. These people earned the right to be in that uniform. They survived boot camp, and they're serving the country currently, and then they're told you cannot serve anymore. You're being disqualified and given some type of, I don't know what type of discharge, how that works, but pretty much meant that you're not welcome here.
Now, what do you
is it because they wanted special treatment?
No. I served, and there is no special treatment when it comes to that. Now, some people others could have some discomfort with them, like someone different from them using the bathroom or some bullshit like that.
So I do want to put the nitty gritty of that issue aside and ask you clearly and plainly, do you think that his intentions were malicious?
In what regards?
In anything, for instance, in the transgender situation, in prohibiting the continued service of members who come out as transgender and want, and elect to, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Do you think his intentions were malicious?
No, I think he has no intentions. All he wants to do is placate to his base to get reelected. I don't think he believes half the shit he says, honestly.
Why do you think that you can read his mind?
I can go with like you said, his intentions. It only is a perception. I can only perceive intentions.
Do you think his intentions were malicious?
Yes.
How?
I thought I answered that. So to disenfranchise someone is malicious. Like, I'm taking away your rights. That's malicious.
Okay, so you can take away somebody's rights with good intentions. For instance, if I kill you,
oppressors say, come on now.
If I kill you, I lose my right to live in free society because I am imprisoned. That is somebody taking away my rights with good intentions. Now, I'm not going to dispute. I'm not going to dispute that it might hurt someone to lose a right that they had before because of a policy decision. But do you think that the intention of the president when he said when he made his policy about transgender in the military, do you think his intention was deliberately to hurt the individual transgender person? Or do you think his intention was to keep order in the larger military?
I think his intention was to exclude people because of identity. That was his intention. That's what his actual rules were done.
That's categorical. That's categorical. It was a categorical decision that ends up affecting individuals negatively.
Yeah.
But if you have to balance the needs of the individual to the needs of the entire organization itself, and you defer to the needs of individual at the expense of the entire organization, especially with the United States military, when we have, we have to have a strong military and a strong military presence.
Okay.
You know this.
Okay.
You can't defer to the individual at the expense of the whole.
So what danger did a trans person who is serving honorably do to the organization? Nothing. If they're fucked up, they're out.
Well, you asked a question and answered it yourself. Would you like me to offer a response?
No, but let me double back here. So the whole point is intention. What's his intentions? So he intended to exclude these people from the military because, like you said, it's for the benefit of the individual versus the organization. But those individuals posed no harm. They posed no harm to the organization. They were functioning.
You're assuming. That's an assumption.
If they weren't kicked out, they were doing their job until they're kicked out. I'm like, well, that's all we got to go on, right? They're doing their job otherwise. And so the big thing there is you exclude people that is malicious. Okay. So I just want to let me go back to answering his question first. I got kind of sidetracked there.
Sure.
I voted for Biden got my vote because I choose to fight him and his organization, his administration. Because I think he is a more movable object because he is a populist candidate that kind of would just do what the party is kind of saying. You know what I mean? Like I see him more as a puppet.
I don't see that.
Oh, that's okay. But he asked me how I justify my vote. So
sure. I want you to continue. I'm sorry.
I'm saying that I choose to fight him. It's like if you see two people, Mike Tyson or me, you're gonna want to fight me. You're not gonna want to fuck with Mike Tyson. You want to get some wins. You know,
who's Mike Tyson? In your metaphor, who's Mike Tyson and who are you?
The greatest boxer of all time.
No. In your metaphor, it's you and Mike Tyson. But like, are you Joe Biden and Mike Tyson is Trump, or is Trump or is Biden Mike Tyson and you're Trump?
I'm the easier win in this situation. Okay. So to me, I see Biden as someone it's easier to get my policy ideas across. That's a win. Oh, so I see Biden as being someone who's easier to get good policies passed. And I think that he would give someone like Andrew Yang, who I support in the primaries, into cabinet positions and have better influence. That's what I voted for. Was that I didn't vote for Biden because I like Biden.
So you voted for Biden because he's weaker. No,
because he's going to include Andrew Yang to get better policies. Is what I'm hoping for. That's my bet. I could be wrong. He could never give Andrew Yang a job. He might just make him like an advisor. But that's like where I got to go. Is like that's where I'm at. So
forgive me. Didn't Trump bring Andrew Yang into his committee about getting the country moving again after this virus?
You mean for the like the stimulus packages and stuff like that?
No, they had an actual committee of business owners and advisors that he wanted brought in.
No, Andrew Yang was never invited to the White House for 4 years.
I'm talking specifically about after the COVID hit.
Yeah. His administrator, whoever his people are, whoever that person was, reached out to him, but nothing really came of it as far as like him being brought into the room. So moving forward, I chose Biden because I think he will include Andrew Yang in the room and get better policies across. Because Andrew Yang thinks outside the box, bigger picture about the economy and stuff like that. So he's not a left or right. He's a forward kind of guy.
Okay, you just brought up economy. You had Trump and Obama for 8 years during the economy.
No. You screwed up.
I mean, Biden and Obama. Sorry.
Yeah.
They had it for 8 years. There's a big quote that everybody plays. Obama saying, our economy is what it is. You're going to have to live with it. GDP is 3%. That's the new norm. Get used to it. Nothing's going to change. Miraculously, things have changed. So how has any Democrat done anything good to help the economy?
Well,
You had
Biden
a full
actually-
Democrat Senate and House when
Mhm.
Obama was in. They didn't help the economy. Fuel
Well-
prices were sky high, which reflects me. I drive a truck.
Oh, I totally get that.
When-
That affects you directly.
When fuel is $5 a gallon and people are complaining because it's costing what used to cost $4,000, now it costs $10,000 to get the same
Mhm.
load there, and they're like, well, we need to go back after these big heads of companies that are making millions of dollars.
Mhm.
Okay, you're not going to raise their taxes. They're going to turn around and raise the price of that product, which goes back to the general consumer, which is you and me. So
Yeah.
the Democrat line is saying, well, we're going after all of these greedy company owners. We're going to make them pay their fair share. Bullshit. It's going back to you and me and everybody else that it gets trickled down to that's going to pay it, because the owners of these companies are not going to pay more. And getting to Trump's taxes, anybody that's a business owner pays difference in taxes. Everybody should know that based on political, not political gains. I'm trying to think of the word.
Capital
Luis.
gains.
Capital gains, yes, versus general income and everything else.
Mhm.
You know, I wish
Well-
people paid attention in school that way.
Well, I'll say this: Obama. Now, again, I voted for Obama the first time, and the second time I voted for him reluctantly, because I didn't like his stances on the border. I didn't like his stances on his foreign affairs. I didn't agree with his policies, but I voted for him reluctantly the second time. But so for 8 years, that's the first time we had 8 years of continued growth in our economy. So he did a pretty
Okay.
damn good job economically. That's what I'm saying. Just
So now go
economically.
back and say what Trump Biden is saying now.
Yeah.
Well, you're just living off of the years of Obama and Biden. That's how your first 4 years goes. Okay. The first 4 years of Obama, you're living off of Bush.
Yeah, because when he got out in 2000, was it 2000? 2008 was
2008.
Yeah. So 2008, the economy crashed.
But the first 4 years are Obama, which is we were still down. If you're going to play the narrative that the
Created a
first
bubble.
4 years reflect on the last president.
May I please ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
So, and I'm sorry to interrupt this role here, but does the nitty gritty of the different policy decisions, the economy, all this other stuff, the nitty gritty and details, do they actually matter if what you want is the hope for a revolution? So your logic, as I interpret it, is you chose Biden because he is. I would say weak enough or would defer enough to his administration instead of making strong executive decisions that you hope his administration would be filled with people who will do the things in the political sphere that you want, would implement the change of the people as you see it. So this is as opposed to a strong executive who's demonstrated his ability to be a good executive, who has had a good impact on all of the areas. If you look at Andrew Yang's platform, right? You can go through line by line, and you can see that the country was going in the direction of the vision of Andrew Yang under Donald Trump. And if you think about it critically, then you can actually see that it was being nudged in that direction. Trump is I think he is a benevolent populist, not a dictator, a populist, and that's a good thing, because we have not had a populist president for quite a while. So I see two different things. I see hope for a revolution, which is what I see with Biden and your choice of Biden, or a continued executive movement and nudge within the bounds of our civilization as it is, of our country as it is, towards the vision for a better future, which is why so many people who are hard workers with dirty hands are voting for Trump. Michael Moore was right about Donald Trump in 2016. Trump is still that man.
Uh-oh.
I'm getting feedback. Sorry. So it's right in my ears too.
That's weird. Yeah.
But now I just can't see the logic in that.
Okay, so I'll break it down for you when it comes to leadership. You're talking about weak versus strong, right? Strong executive decisions, Trump. Weak executive decisions, Biden, right? That's kind of the framing of it.
Is that what you believe?
No, it's what I'm saying is you're framing. You said that Trump has strong executive decisions and Biden would defer to his other people in a weaker position.
Well, I think that's what you said.
I don't know what that is.
That's what I actually heard you say, because you said with Biden there is hope. There's hope that he would bring in Andrew Yang,
Yeah.
to make to help help make these choices and shape our country going forward.
Right. So I see that
but
as
only hope, not guaranteed.
Oh, damn it. I see that as a strong leadership position to admit when you're not the strongest or the smartest person in the fucking room. Trump thinks he's actually the smartest person.
Does he?
So, okay, I think it's some microphone feedback there.
Does
So
Trump think he's the smartest person in the room?
shit, ask him. He'll tell you. No one knows the economy better than Donald J. Trump. He thinks he knows everything more. That's his bravado, right? And
That's
when
a caricature.
No, hold on.
Trump.
When the entire CDC is telling him to do something, when his own Dr. Fauci is telling him to do something, I don't believe that. When people are telling him something about, and I'm not just saying just COVID, which is a horrible fucking response in my book, but I'm going down to leadership. As a veteran, I like to think we can recognize good leadership, and good leadership is when you accept or you take the good with the bad. So you get all the credit for the good things. You got to take the responsibility of the bad things too. He doesn't do that. Do you take responsibility? No, it's what he says.
Are we talking about personality differences, or
No.
are we talking about policy differences?
No, the policies are decided by horrible leadership. So I'll just make this specific to COVID, right? He did.
I'm ready for this one.
Yeah, so he made good decisions. So at first he did the travel ban from China, right?
Yep.
Do you believe that was good or bad?
Hold on one second.
It was me.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to use Trump's own words against him in this moment, right? People saying that he should take responsibility, but when the bird flu came through, the H1N1, he said in his own words that it fell on the president's lap because he's the leader to Obama. But when it comes to him, no, it's not. I don't take responsibility. It's China's fault. It's a China thing, Kung flu, this and that, right? So he's very.
Do you think it was good for him to block the flights in from China?
Oh, absolutely. We should have shut down our entire borders.
Okay.
So we should have done.
But
we still let
everybody
40,000
else said
people.
he was, xenophobic and everything else that could come up with.
That was unfair.
Okay.
Yeah, that was unfair.
There's the first thing he did correctly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
based on advice from the people that were around him.
That's the thing. He had the information the public didn't have.
Right.
Actually, Donald Trump defied the advice of the people around him.
What's that? I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
I said Donald Trump defied the advice of the people around him when he did have to implement the China travel ban, because people were saying, no, it's not necessary. Don't do it. Later on, in hindsight, those same advisors said, you were right. We were wrong. You made the right choice.
Yes. And so in that one instance, he was right to go against their advice. We can all admit that.
How many more people would be dead if we had a leader who would defer to the advice of the experts in that particular instance?
We just don't know. Right.
The WHO at the time had been sublimated by the CCP, and they were acting in the CCP's favor.
I don't know, man. All I know is what Trump does. I don't give a shit about the CCP when it comes to them. There's no proof. Like, we don't have any proof.
Then you're deliberately narrowing your focus and ignoring evidence.
Well, this is about me voting for the president, not for the World Health Organization or NATO. I'm focusing on our problems. It's a component.
That is our problem.
It is a component.
Yeah.
But in that moment, Trump made a good decision forward, looking backwards against the best advice he had. They were wrong. He was right in that moment. I can admit that. But
Okay, so where did he go wrong now?
So then for a whole month, we didn't do anything. And I read the book Rage. I listened to the interviews. He told them this is a bad disease. It's dangerous. It's very deadly. It's very deadly for kids. But 3 days later, he's saying we should go back to schools, open it all up. Kids are almost, this is the thing. He's his own worst enemy. He says stupid shit. The kids are almost invulnerable. I don't know why he does that.
But the children are almost invulnerable.
Because he goes with his gut. Because he goes with his gut, which is what every single one of us out here are doing.
Mm-hmm.
We see what happens in real world. He just speaks what we're all thinking.
Yeah,
and
but
someone in here said,
but we result in 8 million cases and 234,000 dead people.
But there was also supposed to be 2.2 million people dead.
Well, because we took
what?
measures.
We saved so we saved those 2
we don't
million
know.
because we took measures?
No, we don't know. We don't know.
But you're attacking him because of the people that died, when in actuality,
really
there was supposed to be 2.2 million died.
Again,
that's really unfair.
It's unfair?
It's unfair.
It's unfair. Okay.
Your assumption is unfair. It's unfair for you to speculate on the possibilities of Trump being wrong and having done the wrong thing, while then saying yes, 200,000 people or so may have died.
No, there's dead people. They're dead.
May have died of COVID, and it could have been over 2 million. But because of Trump's travel ban, those 2 million people were potentially spared. So this possibility that 2 million people would have died, and the possibility that 2 million people were saved by Trump is diminished, while the possibility of that Trump is at fault 100% for the death of the 200,000. I feel like that's a very unfair way to look at things, and it gives you the man can do no right.
Okay, let's do it this way. So let's say I'm going to give Trump credit for saving 2 million lives, for making that decision. I'm going to give you that point, right?
Okay.
So can we also give the point back? Okay. I'm an atheist. That doesn't help me much, but sure. I'm just joking too about that. I'm fucking with you.
Sure.
But so let's say that saved 2 million lives. So then can you give him credit for the other things he didn't do right?
Like what?
Such as, name it.
Telling people they don't have to wear a mask. You can go back to
We don't.
No. It's in your best interest to wear a mask if you're in a crowd of people.
It's in our constitutional right to choose if we want to wear a mask. That's the whole thing about everything COVID.
Choosing a mask. Okay, when you go into a restaurant, what's it say when you come to that door? No shirt, no shoes, no service.
And that has nothing to do with wearing a mask or transmitting a disease to somebody else. That is to protect me or you from getting sued if I drop something on my toe.
Or public health. Let's put it that way. It's a public health concern.
It's a private.
But this is where Biden has stated he's going to a national mask mandate.
And they really can't. Let's be honest. You can't do a national mask mandate. You can't.
But that's why people voted for him, because he said that.
No, I know. I'm just saying, we all know that you can't do that. And even he has said you can't really enforce a mask mandate. You can just go to the governors and say, governors, you can pass some kind of restrictions, whatever it is that you do.
No, they can't.
That is exactly what Trump did. He left it to the governors. But yet he's being blamed, even in the own chat right here, that it's Trump's fault that 200,000 people died.
No, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is leadership matters.
Yes.
So I'm going back to leadership, right?
Okay, all right. We'll go back to your previous step that he said all the kids need to go back to school.
Yes.
All right. You're upset that he said that. You're upset that he said let people go and deal with their lives, basically. My point is, if you have a mask on and that mask works, why do you care if I have a mask on? Well, that mask should be protecting you, shouldn't it?
No.
Well,
I'm a professional. I work in home care, right? So this is my wheelhouse.
Okay.
This is my thing. That mask I wear does not protect me at fucking all.
Okay.
It doesn't have a seal.
You. Right.
It doesn't protect me. It protects me because I'm a healthcare worker. If I have it, I'm the most likely vector to spread it.
Okay.
All the patients I see, to my own kids, right? So if I wear the mask, I'm looking out for everyone else around me. It does not protect me at
Okay, but I don't work in healthcare,
right.
so how am I going to get it?
If no one's wearing a mask around you and one person has it, someone else is going to get it. I mean,
Okay.
they've proven that, it's all about air. Like,
Yes,
so if I
that
wear
is.
a mask and I cough,
I'll agree with that.
I
The
don't-
common
I don't
cold.
want
You get the
to-
cold that way.
I don't want to dispute the science of mask wearing. I not at all. I don't think that's not a conversation that benefits anybody right now.
no,
But
but
the
it goes back to
dispute-
leadership. It's about
The
leadership.
dispute, though, I want to say the dispute that we're having is about the carte blanche implementation of mandatory masks,
Mhm.
which as we all agree is a violation,
I
and
didn't say
that
it's
is
a violation.
something
I said they
that
can't enforce it.
well,
It's not a violation.
okay.
It's no more a violation than a seatbelt law. You don't have to wear
The
a seatbelt.
seatbelt law was passed your legislature.
Yes, I know, but it takes. But here's the thing: we don't have time to
Exactly.
pass legislature. Like we don't have time.
We don't. You've had 9 months.
You got how many stimulus packages passed?
One, not enough.
What's
Okay,
I'm
but
sorry.
it went through legislature. So yeah, we have had time if they want to pass laws about
If they made it a
masks.
priority, they could, but it's not their priority.
Then
Let's be
that's not
real.
Trump's fault.
because
I'm not saying
human
it.
rights are.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not saying it's Trump's fault that all the government isn't doing what's best for the people. As far as
So-
like, we shouldn't have to force people to wear masks either.
So here's
Right.
what
That's
But
my
it-
thing. I don't-
so is it individual choice?
It is, but here's the thing: your choices have ramifications. So if you go into a private business and it says that you have a state mandated mask, you cannot come into a private business, or a school or a bank or whatever, indoors where you can't maintain social distancing during a fucking pandemic. Then you're excused. You have the right to go home. You don't have the right to come into a private business.
so
If you don't
Correct.
follow
Private
the
business.
right?
Yes.
Private
I
business.
agree.
Private
I agree.
business.
So,
That's
and
it.
here's the thing: it's something that has to be decided on the level of the individual. It is the level of the business. For instance, no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service.
Right.
That
Mhm.
is a private business owner deciding that they want to implement the guidelines put forth by the CDC. A governor of a city, or governor of a state, a mayor of a city can say, if you can say businesses, if you do not, if you do not have people in your business who are wearing masks and keeping proper social distance, we can fine you. That is something that they have the executive authority to do, and they have done. And that is not something that I think is a serious violation. But there are people who are upset because some people are, some governors are saying like you must wear masks outside, or you must, they're defying the science. If you're standing, outside, and you're socially distanced, you should be able to have a picnic. There were when this started in California, there were people being arrested, who just went out hiking, maybe on their own with, with like their loved ones, completely isolated in nature, and they were found and rounded up. Like that happened, right? And that cast a shadow over the entire situation. And and a lot of people who are sensitive to liberty, like I am, were concerned about how far it could go. But then our concerns were made fun of in the media. We were castigated as conspiracy theorists, as science deniers, just because we were concerned about liberty and how illiberal we could get with this situation. And as the conversation went on, it became more and more controversial to even talk about the efficacy, right? I've heard that the paper masks, the cloth masks, it's the N95 mask that protects you and others. The cloth masks do little, yet they're still mandated.
No. Every barrier does something.
Something,
It
right?
doesn't keep it from, like, I can't cough on you if I have a mask on.
Sure,
It does
and
a lot.
I understand. It does a lot.
But most human beings are smart enough to know when you cough in your sleep. or go back. If you're sick, you don't go out in public, period.
You believe in
By-
people a whole lot more than I do, honestly.
And
Well,
that's
and
the
that's the
whole,
point.
there, let's go back. That
I
is
have-
the whole
have less
entire
faith in people.
difference. There's
That's
the
the point.
difference.
Okay, there's a
This
reason. Jerry
country was
Springer-
founded on believing in the individual and their ability to choose their own path.
Okay, but then why is America one of the most obese countries in the planet? People make
Because
bad,
you have the choice to eat.
bad
Yeah,
choices.
you can choose
Say
to
that
make a
again.
bad
I'm
choice.
sorry.
People make bad choices for their own interests. You know, like I'm overweight. I should not drink
Yes.
Dr. Pepper today,
Yes.
but God damn it, I got Dr. Pepper right next to me.
Yes. But you know what? I'm going to rule that in your city, Dr. Pepper can no longer be sold because I don't want you to make a bad choice.
Yeah, and I think that's overstepping.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because
Oh,
no, look,
ding, ding,
Dr.
ding.
Pepper hurts. No, here we go. You guys ready? Dr. Pepper hurts me. That's it.
No, it hurts the 50,000 other people in your same city too.
No,
So
I drink
in-
Dr. Pepper. It hurts me.
Well, okay. So here's another
No,
example.
it
or
hurts all
hypothetical.
50,000 people that drink Dr. Pepper.
Now, I would like to offer another hypothetical for you.
Hold on. I want to hammer that out though, right there. That one point. If 50,000 people drink Dr. Pepper, those 50,000 people would hurt themselves. Like I can only hurt myself with Dr. Pepper. I can't hurt you with Dr. Pepper.
No, because when you have to go to the doctor because of your overweight concerns, that
Mhm.
diabetes, I have to pay for that because now there's public health care that I have to pay for.
But my drinking Dr. Pepper doesn't kill you.
It still harms
No,
her.
but it takes my ability to earn more money to feed my children.
So I choose people
Because-
over money. I'll just state that right now. I choose people over profits.
Can't live
That's
on
not
people.
But I
about
feed
that.
my children with the profits
on.
from my business.
Okay, so my drinking Dr. Pepper hurts no one but myself. It's like punching myself in the nuts.
I don't
Me
think
and him
you're
can punch
actually
ourselves in the
hearing.
nuts all day. We can only hurt ourselves. If you made it illegal to punch yourself in the nuts, okay. But as long
I
as you
don't
don't
think
go
you're
around
hearing
punching
her
other
argument.
people in the nuts, then that's a law. That's when you need to put restrictions. It's illegal for me
Okay.
to punch them in the nuts.
But that person that you're punching in the nuts knows enough to stay 6 feet away from you so you can't reach him.
Oh, come on, man. People like I have to go to a football game tonight, right? 'Cause my daughter's a
No, you
cheerleader.
don't. You don't have to go. Start there.
Okay, let me rephrase this. I'm a parent. I have to go. I'm
No,
going.
you choose to go.
Okay, we're gonna go past this stupid ass hurdle, right? I'm a parent. I'm going. I have to go.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a parent. I'm going to my daughter's game, and so does everybody else.
Okay.
Right. So there's limited seating, so we only allow a certain amount of people to maintain social distance. Now, if we didn't have any kind of
Yes.
mandates, and then people would be like they'd be too crowded. Then you cannot maintain.
No, because the people that were leery of catching COVID
Mhm.
from you would stay away from you,
Oh, I
whether
agree.
or
If you're
not
high
you had a
risk,
mask on.
probably- yeah, I agree. If you're of high vulnerability, you should most definitely not go to a football game.
But
mean-
I think you're missing the point. And the point is, if I don't want to risk it, then I won't be around you.
Right.
If for instance, if in the 80s, when the HIV crisis happened, the government decided to mandate condom use, or prohibit sex between sex at all, sex in order to prevent the spread of this deadly disease. That's of course it's different because you have the privacy of your own home, that kind of thing. But it's not actually that different. I don't have to have sex with somebody with AIDS. I don't have to go around somebody. I don't have to be around someone if I'm afraid of catching. I can choose not to show up. You can choose to, if I see somebody, like for instance, if I go to a football game or a rally or something, and I see a bunch of people who aren't wearing masks, I can say, well, crap, I don't want to be around all those people who aren't wearing masks. I don't want to take that risk.
Yeah.
That's my choice. I choose not to take that risk.
You
but some
saying
people
that you
should.
don't believe in people, you saying that you don't believe in people, that's the whole underlying difference in what
Yeah.
you believe versus what I believe.
I
Well,
agree.
no,
I
let me
believe people have the right to make their own choices.
They do. Yes.
and live with those choices.
Right. Okay. So if I choose to not wear a mask and I am positive, then my choices will negatively affect. It will hurt others around me. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't
understand.
believe-
I get it. I truly get it. You're making a horrible choice, and you're going to hurt other people.
or at least put them at risk. I'm not going to hurt them. Put them at risk. That's the best I could say about that. At risk.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're going to do that. But you know what? There's people out on this highway right now driving past me with a phone in their hand texting.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
They're going
that
to
risk
hurt all
too.
those people too.
Yeah, you guys are like me. I drive all day for my drive. I do home care, physical therapy. And so I'm most likely going to die in a car accident. You know, we assume risks every day, right? But at the same time, what is so hard about putting on a fucking paper mask? People act like you're trying to twist their arm and give them a wedgie. It's not that hard. Just put on the mask.
All right. Let me.
To protect
If
others.
the science told you,
Mhm.
if the science told you that wearing blue shoes is going to keep no more COVID ever, will you wear blue shoes?
If blue
Awesome.
shoes,
Yeah, just it's an absurd hypothetical.
just-
Lean into it. It's an exercise in thought.
so if wearing blue shoes gave someone COVID, would I
Nope.
stop wearing blue shoes?
No. If blue shoes kept COVID
Hold on,
away
there's
from
an
your
echo. I
body
gotta
with this
hold on.
magical little bubble.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I gotta mute. Okay, there we go. I was gonna mute. Thank you. It's an echo. I couldn't hear you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lisa.
If science tomorrow tells you that wearing blue shoes, this
Mhm.
magical ink dye that's in the blue,
Yeah.
keeps COVID virus from landing on your body, will you only wear blue shoes from now on?
If it protected me from COVID,
Yes.
well, yeah.
Yes. It won't
If
land
there's-
on you.
If there's evidence that will protect me, I would it's like putting a condom on to not catch HIV or to get pregnant, right? Yes.
Right.
If there's
Now,
evidence that science, yes.
If I order every single person because I'm smarter than them and I know.
Oh shit, we lost
Oh,
her.
we lost her.
She'll be back. She's right next to him.
Here, try this. You got muted. You got lost.
Yeah, she can come back in on that same thing still.
There. I'll pick up Lee's mic for a second.
Okay.
Now I know better than everybody else because there's people out there that'll be dumb and they won't wear a condom and they won't wear blue shoes. Now I'm going to order you to wear blue shoes because I'm the government and I'm smarter than you. You have to believe in science. Blue shoes will protect you.
Okay. So what's
You think that's okay to order everybody to wear blue shoes?
No, you can't force people to make any decisions like that. We have liberty and
Oh.
freedoms here, right?
Oh.
So we're okay. So we've already said that you cannot force people to wear masks. You can't mandate it. You can't arrest people for not wearing masks.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
that's good. We agree then.
Yeah,
But
you can't
here's the
force
thing:
people
Joe
to
Biden did say that he would implement mandatory masks.
He would implement a mandatory
So-
mask, but he also said in the same sentence that he knows he can't enforce it. Let's be real.
Well, right.
So he
but
said he
that's the
can't
thing.
enforce it. He said I would implement it, but he can't enforce it. Right.
Well, now what if he did implement it, knowing that he couldn't enforce it, and then developed technology to make sure to scan everybody's face, no matter where they are in the world, using CCTV, maybe 5G technology, to make sure that faces are being seen all the time, and make sure that you're wearing a mask. And then if you're not wearing a mask and your face is seen by the CCTV, then your social credit score will be decreased, or you'll have a fine deducted from your bank account for the violation of this law. If you
Okay.
make a law that can't be enforced, eventually it can be enforced.
There's a lot of what ifs though. I mean, like I don't know what to do with that.
That could very well happen and is within the realm of possibility in the next 5 years,
Well, it's
maybe sooner.
there's a lot of possibilities, but what are we doing
I'm
here?
sorry. I thought possibilities were the reason that you chose to vote for Biden.
Choosing biting and fighting a fucking disease is two different things. Let's be real here. Again, I'm in the healthcare field. Wear a fucking mask. It's just that simple.
All right,
Nobody-
I got a scenario for you. That's real
Nobody's hurting
simple.
me. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And there is proven science behind what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Do we all agree that people that drink and drive can kill people around them?
Absolutely.
Much
Usually
easier.
the drunk. All right. Usually the drunk driver lives and they end up destroying lives. We all
Absolutely.
agree that.
Yep.
Okay. Phone use causes accidents in this country. Driving and okay. Would you be okay if the government mandated that every car out there has a breathalyzer that you have to blow into before you're allowed to start that car? Whether or not you're a drinker.
Mhm.
They mandated on everybody on here right now, everybody listening, that they also implement the minute you get above 5 miles an hour, your phone shuts off. Would you be okay with that? Think about it.
It depends where the cost falls for me.
Well,
No, there is a cost positive. The cost positive is you wouldn't have crashes. You'd have people paying attention. It's
No, I
proven
mean,
science that there's crashes all the time because of this.
Mhm.
So how come people aren't outraged about that? There's 26,000 lives every year are killed because of drunk drivers. Nobody says a word. How many crashes happen because of people being on their phone?
a lot.
Nobody says a word.
Mhm.
We don't care about that. But we're worried about a virus that has 99.9% survivability. Okay, you do get sick. I will agree that people are sick, that there is COVID, just like there was H1N1 the first time, just like everything else.
Yeah, it's a disease. Yes. It's
We
deadly.
do not shut the country down for this. If we did, we should shut it down for everything else.
And I think more
Okay.
people have died. More people have died from the shutdowns and the lockdowns, than from the disease itself. If I remember, suicides have gone up, substance
Yes. Is
abuse.
there
spousal
anything-
abuse,
is-
it's terrible
Sorry.
for us.
Is there anything that nobody worries about personal responsibility anymore? Why is everybody so concerned with putting the blame on everybody else? If I do something, I'm responsible for that. Whatever happened to personal responsibility? Nobody cares about that. Everybody wants the government to look out for them. It's the government's responsibility to do this. It's the government's responsibility to do that. When do we start taking personal responsibility?
Well, I think we as a society are how do I put this? That's a good point. I like that point because I do believe in personal responsibility. I would say that I agree with you on the personal responsibility. I agree that we aren't doing everything we can to prevent most deaths that are preventable.
Right.
Right.
So would you be okay with a mandate now that all phones automatically get shut off the minute you get above 5 miles an hour?
I'd have to look into that. It would save lives.
That's right. It would save lives. If one life is saved, wouldn't it be worth it?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't have but I would say that it would save lives. It would save money, right? It would help the economy because we're not killing people. We're not destroying property. And yeah, that's a good question. I like that one.
And
I
also
went
drunk
there.
driving. You know, this all falls onto personal responsibility.
Yeah.
I'll let you go. I hate to keep cutting you off, but there's 3.5 million truck drivers in this country. When this first started, we were treated like the best thing in the world. We were to supply everything for everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm going to point at you guys because you're both home. You locally work, okay? You get to go home at night. We had the country shut down. We had nowhere to stop because everybody shut everything.
Yep.
People thought it was the best interest to save everybody's lives. We need to shut everything down. Where the hell do we sleep? Where do we get to get food? I don't get to fit into a drive-through. Drive-through food sucks. It's not good for us. We all know this, but that's the first thing that gets shut down. The other thing is all of the people that were home hoarded everything. You hoarded all the cleaning supplies. You hoarded all the safety things, and I just got muted.
No, I muted hers because it was echoing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
And we didn't get access to anything. But out of the 3.5 million of us, I know of 2 people that got it. There might be more, but I know of 2 people that got it. I know of no truck drivers that have died, and I could be corrected. But we're out here every day.
Yeah.
And 99.9% of us refuse to wear a mask. And part of it is our immunity. We're not the cleanest of people. If I blow a tire, I blow something, I'll get out of my truck and I might be in diesel fuel up to my arms. I'll wipe it off, whatever. I'll clean up later. It's the same as farmers. It's the same as the Amish. It's our immunity is built up higher. And it's, how am I saying this? It's not that we're nasty, dirty, but it's because I'm not going to run and sanitize myself right away just because I got a little grease on me or something.
Right.
So that might be part of the reason.
But here's the thing, though. That false sense of security is dangerous.
It's not false.
No. It is a false sense of security. I'm a perfectly healthy person, just like everybody else here is, right? But I can get it. But I can have a false sense of security that I won't have it. I'm going to carry on as normal and not wear a mask. That's where you get in trouble. Then I can spread it. And then if I wear a mask, that's all I'm saying. If I get it and I wear a mask, I protect others around me. At least I can't say it's not 100% either, because that mask is not a seal. I can still touch my face. I can touch surfaces. And, you got problems like that, right? So,
but I'm a high-risk person. I had a heart attack not too long ago. I've also had pneumonia that damn near killed me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wear a mask.
Yeah, I don't get it.
That's your right.
Yeah,
it is my right. And you're worried about a mask when people don't think the dirtiest thing in the world that we do every day and touch, money. Yep. I don't care what kind of mask you have. Mm-hmm. Money is the dirtiest thing in the world that people touch.
Yeah.
And everybody will think nothing of going in. And here's another false sense of security. You go to a store, you buy food. That woman is standing behind the plastic. She's talking to you. She's touching every bag.
Mm-hmm.
Some have plastic gloves, some don't. I don't see her changing gloves in between. She'll take money from the next person and hand it to the next person, or they'll have a little piece of plastic. You know what? If you wanted to do this, fine, mandate it, but do it right. Just like I said.
I agree. Like when I worked at the hospital, I was in charge of the equipment cleaning. That was my job, is to make sure when people went in and out of the room treating active patients, right? They're actively positive for COVID and they're hacking all over the goddamn place, honestly. And so my job was to make sure the equipment was clean, going in and out properly, and that they didn't touch the mask with their bare hands. They had to wear gloves. You have to change gloves. Like in a perfect world, I got you. In a perfect world, we would do that everywhere, right? Then there would be no transmission. But we just don't have the supplies for that either. That really, when I first worked in the hospital, we had to reuse our masks, man. It was messed up. And it wasn't perfect. Yeah.
I'd like to posit that we move on. I don't think we're not changing anyone's mind here. We've already discussed it. There's more to talk about. There's always more to talk about.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about Trump issues, Trump supporter, what Trump supporters care about, why somebody who busted her bubble, at a state level, to try and get Andrew Yang on the ballot in Indiana, would vote for Trump. Let's switch topics. How about we talk?
I didn't bring you guys on here to ask you why you voted for Trump. So I get it.
That's okay. But I don't want to talk about this mask thing anymore. It's boring. It's already been talked to death. And nobody actually. I personally don't like it. And I would like to talk about something else.
Yeah. Okay. But we were having a discussion.
I know, and I'm just motion to dismiss.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Okay.
So my biggest thing is I want to know how you guys feel about the election. Mm-hmm. All that shit we're talking about is in the past, man. This is where we're at today, man. So what? So let's say it winds up being 270, 268. Trump wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia, and Biden hangs on for Nevada, let's say, and that's an even 270, 268. We're going to have a lot of uncertainty moving forward because there'll be a lot of court shit going on for at least a couple weeks. Do you guys find that unnerving, or maybe do you guys feel like this is a dangerous time to have so much uncertainty and animosity is the only best way I could put it, like animosity, where people just at each other's throats over this shit, where I understand why people voted for Trump if they're conservatives, if it aligns with your voting rights. I get it, because Biden's not a great candidate. So how do you guys see this thing moving forward? Oh, hold on. I got to unmute. I'm sorry. Okay, you're good now.
We all want and need fair, transparent elections. Every single person in this country should be wanting that, whether your side wins or loses.
Well, my side.
Truthfully, if Trump loses, we're not that worried because we maintained the Senate. So that's not even an issue. We survived 8 years of Biden or of Obama. We will survive 4 years of Biden. The issue is all these claims of fraud need to be investigated, find out if there's any truth to it, and if it is true, it needs to be fixed.
I agree with that.
Period. Whether they're for Biden or Trump doesn't matter. They've had 4 years to get their voter rolls cleaned up, but yet we still have dead people voting. That shouldn't be an issue.
A lot of dead people voting.
Well, I get it. I think everything should be investigated and make sure it's 100% on the up and up. No arguments there whatsoever from me at all.
So I have a question for you as somebody who voted for Biden. With the teetering civil unrest, if in fact it does turn out that Biden's camp cheated, as the accusations are correct, and there was a mass effort to cheat and steal the election, would that change how you think about Joe Biden and the Democratic Party?
It would change my mind about anyone that cheats to win in elections. Period. I don't give a fuck who you are.
What do you think the consequences will be? And what do you think the consequences should be?
Well, again, this is my own personal opinion, not the law. I think you should never be allowed to run for public office again. If you're found to be committing political, trying to think of that term. What's that term you?
But maybe it's not Biden.
No, I'm saying anybody.
Maybe it's not Biden himself.
Possible.
Maybe it's Pelosi in the background cheating for Biden.
I mean, anybody, including Andrew Yang. If anyone is found to be doing some corrupt bullshit to steal an election and commit campaign finance fraud or whatever you want to call it, they should never be allowed to run for office again. Full stop. Same thing if you run a nonprofit. If you fuck that up, you should never be allowed to run one of those again. You can't be trusted. We have to be able to believe in our leaders, man. And right now there's so much doubt on both sides of the aisle of corruption, of misinformation, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. No, half the country doesn't believe one of them, and the other half doesn't believe the other. And that's a bad system.
So
you believe in personal responsibility for your health care. Do you not believe in personal responsibility for getting your information?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm starting my own independent media thing. Like I don't believe what the CNNs and MSNBCs and Foxes say because they're all biased.
Okay.
I agree on that.
So I agree that Donald Trump trying to ban TikTok is wrong because now you've stopped a way of people having their free speech. Facebook is a private business. They can block and ban anybody they choose. How do we get the correct information and where?
Well, that's the thing. We've cast so much doubt on the information. That's something we got to get. We got to find a way. We got to find a way to, like, I don't have the answers on this one. We just got to have a better way of disseminating information where we can be fact checked on the spot. And I don't think Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and Twitter should be the ultimate authority either on that. But again,
so you get to decide what's true and not true.
No.
What if people want to believe something that's not true? So what?
People do it all the time. I'm an atheist,
Yeah.
That's how I see the world.
Okay.
Right?
So do you want to stop printing of the Bibles?
No. I believe in freedom of religion too. I will fight tooth and nail for everyone else's right to practice their religion, as long as it doesn't hurt other people and impede on their rights.
So
I would fight for everyone's right to your religion. Yes. Sorry.
So I'm a fan of Adam Townsend. He's an investor. He invests in like startups and businesses, and he's very intelligent and has a lot of really good Twitter threads. At Adam Scrabble, he is one of my top recommends for people on Twitter. And I I watched his sorry, he did an election prediction cast on Periscope a few days ago before the election. And one of the things that he had mentioned was that Biden had one of the best get out the vote campaigns in history, bar none. And they had at least 100 different videos they micro targeted to narrowly segmented markets. And you as a viewer using any social media channel, any stream of information whatsoever, you were all but guaranteed to see videos with information that was relevant and specifically relevant and personally catered to you.
Yeah.
Despite that, things were still extremely close. Why?
Why? If I knew that, I'd be fucking rich and famous. I don't know why. It's just, again, man, we're a very splintered country. Uh-oh, she lost signal again. We're a very splintered country culturally, ideologically. There's so much division. We've been divided by so many different factors like religion or freedom of speech or guns. Oh, let me bring her back in. Sorry. Gun laws, talk about immigration. What they do is they take the people in power, take us, and they chop us up into smaller segments and hope like hell we don't come back together. You know, and they divide us very well.
I agree. And so I think that's one of the things that's splitting the country. We cut people off if they don't think like us. I just saw like Don Lemon or somebody on CNN saying that he had to block members of his own family and cut his friends off because they were engaging in wrongthink. And in 2014, when I was still at Evergreen, I was doing the same thing. I blocked people if they expressed problematic viewpoints or hints of embracing structural or systemic racism that I believed at the time. And that process of blocking and cutting people off that we don't agree with has been automated. So automation, right?
Algorithm.
So you can add an add-in to your browser. I remember after the 2016 election, maybe you do too. You could download a browser extension that turned all references and all pictures of Donald Trump into like babies or puppies. It auto blocked the mention of Donald Trump, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And you can also run auto blockers on your social media. You can go to a website and it says, you can give them your Twitter information, and then they'll go to your Twitter and they will auto block an entire list of accounts that has information that you don't want to see.
Okay.
Do you think that tendency has had consequences for our population and for America at large?
I believe as large as these companies, these corporations are, absolutely. They have gotten so big. Like, think about it. Google and Facebook and Twitter own everything. And so does like Bloomberg and Warner Brother and Disney. There's these huge conglomerates that really do control the narrative. And if they tweak their algorithm just I watched that show Social Dilemma. They really can tweak and like they negatively affect depression. I mean, with young ladies and suicide rates, and these are all bad things. I think they are, like you were saying earlier.
I've read the primary research on that.
So when Lee was saying earlier about personal responsibility, and it comes down to would I be okay with them turning off your phone after 5 miles an hour or stuff like that? Like, I think when it comes to our children, there should be more resources for the parents that are built into these systems to help them protect their children from these predatory algorithms that destroy their self-confidence and cause more harm. I don't know how that would work. Like, I don't understand that, but there's smart people out there, much smarter than me, that would figure that shit out, or at least have some motivation. But right now, they're not incentivized. They're incentivized to make money.
So,
and that's a big problem.
So, right. And I agree. I agree with the creepy segmentation, with the divisiveness, with the different bubbles, right? We have, the United States. I learned in the Yang campaign from one of my volunteers that the United States is divided into 11 different nations within it, cultural nations. And, there's a book on it I can recommend later. But now we are divided based on what we believe in a sort of like meta map. So if you believe something differently than somebody else, even if you're in the same neighborhood, you exist in a completely different world. So this has serious implications. The implication being the loss of individual autonomy. And I think that a lot of people who are sensitive to liberty, like myself, see that as intensely problematic, because there is a capability that can be automated to change a personality. You can actually target somebody with a specific campaign that, by exposing them to it and in a barrage over time, cause a change in their personality.
I think it's
if
possible.
you have enough resources, you can do that.
Yeah.
Now, what is the biggest problem that we have in the media today? Why is it so out of touch?
Well, because they're it's a profit system. Where
Right.
they're just trying to say whatever they do to it's in their own fiscal interest to stay in their bubble and demonize the other on both sides. That's what I think.
Sure. I describe it as a walled garden. So you have what you have is the media is out of touch because it doesn't have to be in touch, because you have a lot of resources, a lot of talent that is isolated and has been isolated in its own narrative for long enough that they essentially live in their own world. Now, and from their own world, from inside their walled garden, they are playing machinations. They are implementing these algorithms to try and get what they want.
Okay.
And it's creepy, right? It's real, and it is being rejected. And that is why, and that is why a heavily resourced campaign like Joe Biden's was not successful, because people are rejecting it. It's the creepy factor, right? People are rejecting this targeting, and this has some serious implications in our economy, in search engine optimization, everything. Additionally, you also have several whistleblowers from like Twitter and Facebook and other companies who talk about the shadow banning. They talk about the social engineering that they are trying to pull off.
Okay.
You have activists in positions to set. You have at Twitter, you have members of the Chinese Communist Party who are in a position to censor the speech of Americans because they're moderating content. They're developing content moderation algorithms. So that is problematic. It is creepy, and it is being rejected. People who care about this issue, who are sensitive to the impact of technology, like myself, I'm tech. I think I'm tech savvy. I'm intelligent, and I also I understand the vision for the future, and I see what's happening. I see where we're going. Andrew Yang is a visionary. I am too. I mean, I don't mean to get Kanye in here, but yes, I see.
Keep Kanye out of my fucking chat. Oh my god.
All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to trigger you. But okay. So it's creepy, and that's where we're going, right? Now because people are rejecting creepiness and they're rejecting theater, right? So whatever Biden did, whatever advantage that he had, whatever he had to do to get the buy-in that he had from these big tech companies, whatever negotiation that went on behind the scenes, whatever the promises he made, for instance, reintroducing TPP, re-engaging with the WHO, getting back on the Paris Accords, implementing a VAT tax, that making, as Townsend said in his stream, it was an effective resolution of the impermanence of power, right? That's what Biden promised. Now, that's happening. Meanwhile, what we're seeing is imagery of depression imagery. People are in masks. There's the response to COVID, right? People because of the situation, because of the the media targeting, the targeted ads, the the psychological, psychological manipulation using psychometrics, and an algorithm, and machine learning, and et cetera. People are primed. People are primed to want to fix it, and they're primed to want the government to help. They want, we want a stimulus package. We want universal health care. I'm hurting. My health hurts. My neighbor hurts. I find accessing healthcare difficult. It needs to be taken care of. That sort of thinking, right?
Okay.
But it's theater, and we recognize it as theater largely. Even people who are playing it, even people who are voting for Biden, recognize it as theater. They see it. They see a game, right? It's like a political soap opera or WWE. They know it's theater when they're doing it. And that's pretty obvious. The mask wearing, people see it as theater, regardless of its efficacy. And that's evidence, and that's evidence in its enforcement.
This is a long rant. I don't really understand where you're going with it.
Okay, well, but what I'm going to say is what I'm going to describe to you is why Biden is not as ahead as he thinks he is. Where we're going as a nation going forward. If you think I'm talking too much and not asking enough questions, that's fine. But
I'm just trying to figure out where you're going with it. It's like this thing. I don't know what was going on there.
I didn't do the bottom line up front. My bad.
That's okay. No, I was just trying to figure out where it was, because I think we're kind of losing. I couldn't even remember what it even started out as.
Sure. So the bottom line is there's a reason that Biden is not as popular as we think he is. There's a reason that his campaign failed despite having immense resources and one of the best campaigns in history.
Yeah, we can agree that he's not popular.
Yeah.
That's obvious.
He
got
also
5 million more votes. He got 5 million more votes this time than 2016. That's a clear.
I don't think that's possible.
No, he got 5. Right now he has 4. I'm sorry. They think it'll be 5, but right now it's over 4 million more votes than 2016 already. And that's mostly because of a higher turnout. But that is a shot at Biden and the DNC and saying, you guys suck so bad that we're going to keep voting for this guy. No matter what, you guys suck that bad, or they agree with his policies. It depends. We don't know. We can't project what we think they're voting for him for. We don't know. But people,
I don't think they're actually voting for him.
It's possible. But yeah, so people are asking chat for because I know she knows more about the universal basic income. I want to get Lisa and Lee's opinion on what do you guys think about the universal basic income, and that's being proposed, I guess you'd say.
Are you muted over here so I'm not echoing on her?
I'll mute.
No, we're good.
I would say that I don't agree with the universal income. That was the one thing that Yang come out with. I have friends on Facebook that are Democrats and that run around with Truckers for Yang signs all over. And my argument with the universal income is you're looking for the government to give you a handout, basically. They've tried, and his reference was, well, they do it in Alaska. All right, they do it in Alaska. The people in Alaska that are native to Alaska get a universal check based on the oil exploitations up there. Right. If I was to move to Alaska, I would get it in 5 years. I'd start to get a percentage. Everybody that moves to Alaska gets some. All right, and this is where I based it with the friends of mine that were pushing Yang.
Okay.
The majority of the people that are on a universal income end up being, and this is where everybody's going to rip on me, they end up being alcoholics. They end up sitting at home. They end up looking for more of a handout.
Okay.
It falls back on the same. It falls back on the same line that we used to have in the 80s. The more kids you popped out, the higher your welfare was. It's the same thing. I don't agree with it.
So if the basic income in Alaska causes people to drink more and stuff like that and look for more handouts, does alcoholism, is it 100% in Alaska?
No,
right.
I didn't say it was.
No,
but it leads to that. It leads to more not going out and supporting yourself.
So
the more you start handing people, the more they start looking for.
Okay.
If I handed you $100 and I had a bag full of money, would you not look at me and say, "Why did you only give me $100? Why didn't I get more?"
No, I don't know your intentions, but that's a
But
hypothetical thing. Yeah,
right,
hypothetical.
that's where I'm going with this. If
Yeah.
people started getting a sense of income from the government, doesn't matter what it is. We'll just say everybody automatically gets $2,000 a month for doing nothing. In a few months, they're going to be trying to get more.
Okay, so I think the reason I was going to flesh this out. Andrew Yang chose. He did a study on economics. He has an economics background.
Yeah.
So $1,000 a month is just under the poverty line, right? So if you get $1,000 a month, you're still poor, but you have your
Right.
basic needs met. So you're still incentivized to work. Now, people can still choose to live and swallow $1,000 a month. They just can, and people are right now.
But you already said you don't trust people to make right choices.
No, I'm saying is, yeah, people can make bad decisions. Absolutely, they do. I do. We all do. But me thinking, so I see you guys smoke a cigarette. I think that's a bad decision, but that's your choice.
Yep.
My opinion should not be law, right? So it's just an opinion.
So what do you think those people are going to spend their UBI on?
It's none of my business. I don't care. I'm gonna take care of my
So you're
business.
just going to give it to them no matter what. They're going
It's
to become alcoholics,
No, you don't. You can't say that. You don't know.
and you don't know they won't.
Okay,
Well,
I don't know they won't become 6'3" either. But what's the point in arguing that?
I have a question.
know?
So I
Because you're
have a
trying to
friend.
control part of it.
So I have a friend. There's a friend of the family who I've had this discussion with him, and he said that some of the studies that he's seen, and he's a published economist. Some of the studies that he's seen have indicated that a UBI actually increases terrorism. Terrorism, yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think that what happened during COVID is a pretty good example of him being right. Because you had stimulus checks. You have people making more with the government stimulus than they did in their minimum wage jobs, and you also had more people showing up in the streets. You had more people setting buildings on fire. More social unrest. Now, the triggers for this social unrest, of course, they're always going to be the same. It's a pattern. But I think that there's a good argument. There's a good argument to make for a UBI actually being something that contributes to vice. It can be virtuous, but it can also be vice. It can be vicious as well.
Okay.
So I think we should maybe talk about that.
Okay. So so earlier, what do you want to call it? So if there's a program that would help everyone equally, right? Everyone's equal. Everyone gets it. Who does that hurt?
Where's the money come from first? Or
Who
where
money.
are you getting this?
What's our tax?
Where are you getting it from?
The money they take from us, we're getting it back.
Okay.
You pay taxes every month, and you get some
Yep.
of it back, pretty much. It's
Yep.
a tax break for people at work.
But not everybody pays taxes.
I know. That's why I said for people that work.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there's a
So-
reason for me not to work right there, because I don't want to put more money into a system that's going to spread it out to everybody.
And you're free to work, or you're free to not work and live off $1,000 a month. Good luck, but nonetheless.
No, I'll go work for cash on the side where the government doesn't get it, and now you don't get a part
you
of
can
my
do that.
income.
People, you realize people are doing that right now, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's a moot point. It's a moot point. It's already happening.
No, it makes perfect sense. I mean, if this happened, and I'm in favor of something similar to a UBI. I'm more about collecting rent from machines, and having stewardship as a having personal stewardship as an incentive to as stake in the game, right? The problem that a lot of critics of UBI have is that people don't have stake in the game. we want a good society. We want to be good citizens, and we want to contribute and make, and not just make the world a better place, but, progress our civilization towards rationality, equality, and justice, a single tiered system of justice that applies to everyone, right? That these are all values that, that are shared across the nation, right? No matter what political party you are, you want a more just society.
Okay.
It's just the way there is different, right? So the problem that a lot of people have with it that I've noticed is that there's no stake in the game. So there's a way, I think there can be a way that something like a UBI is implemented, where people still have a stake in the game, where they still have to take care of something and still have to have stewardship. And that's something that I would support. It's not a tangible vision. I don't have the answers yet, but the stake in the game aspect is important.
So once you get resources, guess what you got? Stake in the game.
So
No,
I have a
that's
question. I have a question for you.
Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
I guess, or a statement. When they first came out with the COVID thing and everybody was losing their jobs because they were
Mhm.
shutting everything down.
Yeah.
All right. Our state of Wisconsin, unemployment, I want to say was that I used to know. I don't know what it is now, but it used to be $275 a week.
390.
390 now? Okay. Can you mute your mic because it's echoing? It was all right, 390 a week. And then the government came in and said, all right, we are going to give an extra $600 a month above that.
Yeah.
And originally they gave
a week.
a week. Okay.
Every week
Plus
is a lot of money.
plus another $1,000 or $1,200 they gave everybody. Okay, my problem with that stimulus that you referred to, the government only passed one stimulus check, or they didn't.
I think it's a horrible stimulus, by the way.
If you lose your job because of this, okay, I'm sorry. And the government is going to give you access to go back to get unemployment, which you've paid in. Everybody's paid in unemployment.
Yeah.
That's why we work. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You should not have gotten more than you would have made in a week of work. And the point being that if I lived on $500 a week every week after taxes, this was my pay. I lived on that. The stimulus check that I got from the state and from the government should have been that $500 a week. It shouldn't be $1,000 a week, because case in point, Michelin plant in Ardmore, Oklahoma, they were paying everybody above and beyond what their normal unemployment rate was. When Michelin tried to go back to work, they ended up giving everybody a $6 an hour raise because they could make more money sitting home freeloading off the government, getting money.
No. Let's rephrase it. No one's freeloading. Their job was taken from them. They're mean.
But when you are told to come back to work,
yes,
and the government is still giving you money,
mm-hmm.
you are going to sit home and collect the money from the government, which is wrong, which is why I said nobody should have gotten any more money than you could have made during your normal work week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't argue that they shouldn't have gotten compensated. I do not argue that at all. Everybody should have still been able to make money if you lost your job or plant was shut down or whatever because of this. My argument is that you're getting way above and beyond what you originally would have gotten.
Do you have a problem with the $3 trillion they gave to prop up the stock market?
Yes.
See, that I agree. I think it's a horrible fucking package.
I have a problem with all the money they gave to these, the things that Pelosi had. I can't remember that one. It was something in Philadelphia. All this money that went to all these museums because they didn't get the money. This is wrong. The money should have went to the people. And it should have not gotten more money than they got in a normal work week. You shouldn't be propping up all these businesses to stay open that are government run. I know after I get off of here, I'll remember what it was.
Yeah.
But you know where I'm going. You shouldn't be funding all of these institutions that are going to close because, all right, we didn't have the people to come in and pay. Well, you're already government funded to begin with. You don't need to be open right now. They're social distancing. Just suck it up.
So you agree that giving people $600 a week de-incentivized them to go back to work because they didn't make more money working, right? So it's not in their best interest
Because
to work, they make less money.
Right. They shouldn't have not. They should not have made more money than they would have made during a normal work week.
Okay. Do you think that waitresses should be paid $2.50 an hour?
You're going to go around with me on that, and I'll argue with you. Waitresses get paid cash as a tip above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Sometimes.
have to report so much of that income.
If
Some
they're a good
states are
waitress.
required. My wife was a waitress, so you just got on the wrong person.
And
to
I
argue
ran a
with.
restaurant.
I was a waitress.
Yeah, I've bartended and everything in the military.
Right. Okay.
But my
So
thing
what's
is,
your point?
the wait. I'm being specific to restaurants because I have friends that own restaurants. They couldn't get their waiting staff and their cooks back because they paid them fucking dick.
Right.
They paid them dick, and now
But they
getting
managed to live before.
Yeah, managed. They're okay. So we're paying them so little that they still get welfare while they're working a full-time job. So we, the taxpayers, that same money we're worried about right now going that $600 are still already subsidizing their pay because it's so low. It's so fucking low. They're on welfare with a full-time job. That's my biggest problem right now is we're subsidizing Walmart to pay people to work 32 hours a week and not give them any healthcare coverage, no benefits, no paid time off, no vacation. So we're subsidizing this poor pay scales. Now, I'm not saying we should just jump to $15 an hour either. That'd be very, very disruptive. But that's why I'm making the case for universal basic income is to say, if you have a universal basic income, everybody gets skin in the game, like you were saying earlier, Amber.
But everybody doesn't because they're not paying into the government to begin with.
There's not enough jobs. There's no jobs.
There are though.
Not here. I'll tell you right now, not in Southwest.
No, there are jobs.
Hold on. We have 25% unemployment in my county. 25%, man. In Southwest Michigan.
I read the last book I read on economics was Thomas Sowell's Basic Economics. Good book, strongly recommend. And he talks about minimum wage laws and the effect minimum wage laws have on a society. So, and after hearing that, I'm against minimum wage now because you have and while a person probably cannot live on a $4 an hour or something like that. But not every task is worth $15 an hour. And that's just a fact. So you have to.
Well, does it have to be a fact? Let's be real.
Not every job is worth $4 an hour.
Let me.
Not every job is worth $15 an hour.
Yeah, I agree, but I think some of these jobs are so remedial. They're going to be automated away within like 2, 3, 5 years. Like there should be no one flipping a fucking hamburger. Let's be real.
Oh, wait. Where is a teenager going to get their first job?
Oh, I agree. Listen, we're going to lose so many. Like you guys are truckers, man. Tesla's got a truck that just delivered a thing of butter to fucking New York. I'm worried about my friend Fred and people like you that are truckers. Those jobs are getting automated away. That's 3.5 million jobs that are up in the air. They won't all go away because Tesla trucks won't be able to do what you guys do in the nitty gritty tight spaces. You know what I mean? Like there's still going to be that type of.
Okay, stop. The driverless trucks. This is our forte. So you just stepped right in this one.
Okay.
Driverless trucks are going to replace the back and forth produce from California to the East Coast.
Yeah, overhaul.
The monotonous, the same route day in and day out. However, those displaced drivers are going to come to my industry looking for a job. We do oversize. You have to have special training. You have to have lots of years of experience. But these newbies are going to come into my industry and think they can be good now, that they're going to make our big bucks because they don't have a job doing the monotonous work. So they're going to try and take over my industry. So every aspect of the trucking industry is going to be affected.
Yes, including truck stops, hotel rooms, restaurants along like I-80. That I-80 truck stop's going to be in trouble That is a huge, gorgeous truck stop. I went to Iowa quite a few times last year for in Iowa.
Yeah.
But all 3.5 million jobs won't be lost in trucking. There's still going to be some jobs that are local stuff, stuff like that. But overall,
Right.
a lot
What
of jobs
about-
are going to be lost.
What about it'll be a job, a low-paying job that you're home in your bed every single night? What about the people that join trucking?
Oh shit! Lost her again. Dang it!
She got muted, but I could pick right up where she lost.
Okay.
What about when they do this? All right, now all of a sudden, I drive a truck. I live 2 hours from New York City. Their whole idea premise behind this is, all right, we're going to move all these jobs to the local, so all you drivers that were over the road can now be home every day with your family. Wrong. We drive a truck over the road because we enjoy going over the road. And we live in the country. You're not going to get all of us to move into cities. And as far as the autonomous trucks taking over all of us, that buttload, I talked to the government about that buttload. What they did was illegal. And
Really You're really broken up. We can barely hear you. Dang it.
So I do.
Yes,
Internet.
we're not
I
even
do wanna
moving.
speak-
I know.
I do want to speak on this. So I subscribe to Stratfor in their decade projection for 2020 to 2030. They did, they talked about the progression of technology and how, after 5G infrastructure is installed, and this is all over the globe, not just the United States. There'll be much greater access to power because of advanced power cells. There'll be much greater access to communication. Much greater access to the the cognitive, to the cognitive domains of our economy, and that's going to be spread over rural areas as well. As this infrastructure is placed, it's going to allow decentralization, so you don't have to be in a big city to work. And the COVID has already affected this. There are people who can do their jobs that would normally have to be in New York City. They can move to Wisconsin if they wanted to, if they have a good enough internet connection.
Yeah, we got to have rural broadband for people to have access.
Sure, rural broadband and a 5G. A secure 5G network is the biggest issue of the next 5 years. That is going to be the hugest issue of the future. A secure 5G network will allow us.
And you have looked into the dangers of 5G.
Yes, I've seen some of the studies. It is I've seen some of it, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It needs to. Because it needs to be done by us, by U.S. companies, not by Huawei to save money. My biggest concern, one of my biggest concerns with a Biden administration is when we install this infrastructure, this 5G infrastructure, which requires a lot of antennas, a lot of activity, a lot of jobs, that we don't do it safely. For instance, Canada wants even the European Union, right? They have two companies that have the capability to make this infrastructure in Europe. I forgot what their names, but they're in Switzerland and in Finland. They can't do it because of the overregulation in the European government. And so they want to go to Huawei, which is Chinese, which is insecure, because they will steal our data. They have been stealing our data. They've been stealing our data. They've been stealing our personal data, creating.
They're banned here in the United States. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And what if I know, maybe you don't know, maybe you don't believe, Joe Biden and his entire family are compromised by China and the CCP. If they allow Huawei in to cut costs and save money, if they try to sell that poison pill or even force that poison pill down our throats, we're going to be screwed. We're going to be screwed for eternity. And then every single city in the world will look like Hong Kong looks now. I don't want that. So regardless of what happens in the economy in the future, whatever the future of work looks like, the future of work needs to be free.
Well, that's the hard part, right? Is find that balance. Like, how do we have enough resources that, like, get rid of, like, we could easily end homelessness if it wasn't for the mental health crisis that people have that are homeless, that are, truly disturbed. They can't manage their own money, low enough their life. And then you have other things where it's hard to balance out, like, how do you pay for all these programs? Of course, it's difficult. And then you got the whole international market that's making things much more foggier because of competition. It's forcing other countries to sprint towards something unsafely. Sometimes they're competing against China because China's already got 5G. Like, they already have 5G in China. And we have the towers here. I actually got a phone that has 5G capability, but it's not really a there are some cities have it. But I think if we had internet access rurally, then people could do more jobs and get out of the city, like you were saying. I think it's a good thing. If you want, like, I don't want to live in the city. I live at the end of a dirt road. Like, I have a one-way pass to my house, one dirt road. Right. I agree with it. Yeah.
You were talking about autonomous 5G. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but 5G was dedicated only so many bandwidth is going towards autonomous. There's not enough bandwidth there to promote the autonomous side of things as far as trucks nationwide. And also, we've done interviews with Too Simple. They do not need 5G. That's a closed system that they use. So they have Google Earth go out and map from LA to Houston.
You're breaking up.
Yeah, it's really broken up on my line. It's broken up.
Switch mics, you two.
Explain
She's clear.
what I was saying.
Can you hear me okay without breaking up?
Yes. I don't know why his is breaking up, but yours is. His is not. Yours is not. There we go. Yeah, 5G is unknown too. I don't know enough about 5G. It's a big change. I don't know enough about it to have a real good opinion on it per se. I haven't looked into it enough personally.
You need to follow through with the trucking industry a little bit more, because the way that they are designing these, it's a learning software. And in order to teach these trucks how not to crash,
yes,
they have to crash in order to learn to avoid it.
No, you got to have a driver. Like right now, they have a driver that sits behind the wheel but doesn't engage. That's what they've done right now. Like the one in that went from, I think it was New Mexico. Damn it, we lost her. New Mexico to New York. They had a driver behind the wheel, but he didn't engage it. And if it did make an error, he corrected it and it learned it as to go without wrecking. I don't want anybody to wreck. That'd be terrible. But yeah, I would. I do got to get going here in a couple minutes, guys. Personally, I really appreciate you guys taking 2 hours out of your day to spend here with us, and going back and forth about stuff. I love it. It's civil discourse. We need to do this more often.
Sure. I'm going to plug myself though. If you want, if you want to speak with me further, feel free to follow me on Twitter. And I am at AESWINS, AES wins. I usually engage with most people who come to me with good faith, and I welcome good faith conversations with anyone.
Did I spell it right? AESWINS.
Yes, you did. I don't like to capitalize the A though, but okay, that's fine.
Gotcha. And in the description box, Lee and dang it, Lisa. There we go. Lee and Lisa. They have their own Facebook page. It's in the description box. You guys want to check out? They have how often do you guys do your radio show, Lee?
Every Monday night, 7 to 9 Central. If you go to our Facebook page, Trucking Across America with the Schmitts, the link is posted there. Okay.
No, I really appreciate your time, man. You guys be safe out there, and I appreciate you being open and honest and willing to go back and forth with me a little bit. It's fun me being the only one kind of fielding all the back and forth a little bit, but I don't mind. It's fun for me. I like to learn stuff. But if you guys want to do it again, just let me know. We can have more discussions. You can bring the topics if you want. I'm an open platform. Bring more awareness. Honestly.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. So tell your wife I said thank you because she dropped off your guys' signal's getting goofy, even though you haven't moved, which is weird. Oh, lost them. Shit. Wow. But yeah, we got a lot of voted for Trump. Okay. But yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. No matter who wins, we got a lot of work to do to get better policies, get people back on their feet, man. Because our economy's been decimated, and if we, like I said before, we look back and Trump made a good decision to I won't say ban travel from China because he still allowed 40,000 business people to go back and forth. But he did try to do a travel ban in China, and it did slow down the effect, period. But looking back now, if we would have done a proper shutdown, it wouldn't have lasted 10 damn months. We could have done it for like 30 days or something like they did in Australia where they paid people to stay the fuck home. Wear your mask, stuff like that. You don't have to go to work to not starve to death. Because there's people like waiters and waitresses and bartenders and stuff. Their jobs wasn't essential, and now they can't go earn money. And I can't remember. I didn't have to because I'm a medical professional. I didn't get laid off. Actually, my work picked up for me, unfortunately. But people were waiting for their unemployment for months to get approved. And even that PPP program, I know a couple people that applied for it and got it eventually. But in the meantime, they're behind on their leases and stuff like that, because they had to shut down, and those programs had a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape to jump through, a lot of hoops, and the stimulus package was terrible. It was terribly implemented.
Well, either way, regardless of the outcome, it was a pleasure to speak with you today.
Yes.
I always enjoy your company.
And we had a good time in South Bend.
Absolutely. I look forward to speaking with you again. I must go. Thank you.
Yes. All right, guys. I'll see you later, Amber. All right, guys. See you guys later. And I'm gonna come back and do a celebratory live stream when this official results come out. But let me look at my calendar. I got something else coming up. Oh yeah. So tomorrow we're doing a Mandalorian season 2, episode 1 and 2 review. And then on Sunday, I'm gonna be live on Nerds at 1:00, man. So I'm gonna try and do more stuff like this to get more conservatives in here and literally just more Trump supporters and try and see if we can't mend these fences once this all settles down. Now my signal's not looking good. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Yeah, my sketchy, it's not looking too hot. Okay, it's a little better now. But yeah, so on Sunday at 1:00, I'll be doing on Nerds with some great people. Try to do these after work hours when you can, boys. I love jumping into these, but I can't. But it's a pain doing it on the phone. Yeah, I get it. Only reason I'm doing it this time of day because I'm not working this whole week. I took the entire week off. Normally, I'm going to be doing it after hours. It'll be later, But yeah, we didn't get very far in the UBI. They kind of poo-pooed on it, and they said no. And I get it. It's hard to understand if you don't know all the economics of it. But all we can do is keep trying, keep talking to people. Sorry, I'm just clearing. My damn phone's got a shit ton of alerts while we're doing this for 2 hours. There. But yeah, we just got to keep talking to people and keep bringing it up, and we'll find common ground because we've got to find common ground moving forward. And that's all we can hope for. Like I said, I can hope for Joe Biden to do the right thing. And I'm telling you what, I look forward to holding his fucking feet to the coals, period. I'm going to go back and look at the video where he said, in my first 100 days, I'm going to say blah, blah, blah. And in 100 days, we're going to do a video. What has he done? Again, we'll see. Yeah, right. We got to just keep planting those seeds. Yeah, that's going to be the best part. Yeah, well, hopefully it'll be good news. Hopefully they follow through. Hopefully got policies passed. Hopefully we get a fucking stimulus package that works or get a damn a vaccine that's effective that we can trust. So we'll see, man. I'm a healthcare worker, so I'm about to pick up major hours here, it looks like, because in Michigan, Southwest Michigan, where I'm at, the cases are picking up again, so it's not good. Yeah, it's all about the VAT. Yeah, you're right, man. So I should have brought the VAT up. I didn't have time, man. It's hard to keep track of 3 people like that. But I'm gonna do more stuff like this. Or if you guys know people that you'd like me to talk to bring in for stuff like this, let me know. Just hit me up on a DM. And I always answer my DMs one way or another. I get to them eventually that day. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for the super chats you guys got in there too, man. What's this? Trump Pence show up there for rallies? Yeah, they came to Michigan 3 times that I know of in the last week. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out, guys. I get ready. I got to go to my daughter's football game. She's a cheerleader. I got to go document that and take pictures and videos for her. So, all right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. 2 hours. Good stuff, man.